Maybe you had a rough childhood. I think we all did on some level. But have you ever given any consideration if your children are having, let's say, a bit of a less turbulent, easier, less eventful childhood, thank God, how they might develop the super important skill and attribute of resiliency? I know I have. My name is Jen Todd, and I am the founder of Shift Collective, an organization devoted to taking female entrepreneurs to their next level through bringing you through your biggest trial into your biggest triumph. I believe that personal development is the foundation for business development and acceleration, and we are here for all of it. So let's have this tough discussion today. How do we help our children develop resiliency in much easier times? I have 4 ways that I have used and learned along the way to help them. So I had a turbulent childhood. I had a really dysfunctional mom, and it wasn't her fault. She had a pretty severe psychological disorder that is kind of like schizophrenia. She also had a codependency on drugs and alcohol, and to say it was turbulent is putting it lightly. But I developed resiliency and adaptation at a very young age. I was able to adapt to most situations. I was able to keep my younger sister and I safe in many situations well before I should have even been aware of that kind of stuff. So my level of self-awareness also grew accordingly. Now, I look at the childhood my kids have, and we have a really functional household. We have the normal arguments and ups and downs and not wanting to do schoolwork or sibling rivalry as any other household. But it is a safe environment, there's no abuse going on, there's all good things. How are my kids going to develop that resiliency at a high level that I was forced to develop? Because in no way would I ever want them to live what I lived through. And I'm sure anything significant from your childhood, you are shielding your kids from like a mama bear. I know you are. I know that you can't help it. How do they develop resiliency? I heard a story from a mentor of mine a while back, and this really resonated with me. He also had a hard childhood. His kids have got it made. They don't have a hard childhood. And he says that every night at bedtime, or some nights at bedtime, I should say, rather than doing stories every night, like reading a book together, which is important, and we do that, he also picks nights to just share stories of his family. So, like me, his kids are very aware that his upbringing was tough. They're aware there was a lot of dysfunction and abuse and all that kind of stuff, as are mine. The mistake I have made in the past is sharing that information with them in times of difficulty. That's not when I should be sharing it. That's not when we should enlighten our kids as to our own struggles. We need to be sharing this during times of cohesiveness and connection and love and all of those kinds of things, not when the stuff hits the fan, right? So I've learned a valuable lesson from him to share stories as a regular part of our routine of resilience and people overcoming challenges in my family's history. So one night we lie down, we talk about how my grandpa grew up in the Depression and how his family managed to overcome by linking arms and going through that together. And they don't really know what I'm doing. It's kind of a covert operation. But I am planting seeds of resiliency in them. I'm showing them that our family is a family of overcomers. I'm showing them all good things just by sharing some family history, and they're getting to know a little bit about their past, their ancestors. Another time I'll share a story about something that happened to me in my childhood or teen years that seemed hopeless. It seemed so hard, and either how I reached out to ask for help, such a great seed to plant. Most of us don't know how to do that as grown-ups. And receive the help I needed in order to triumph over that experience. So I love this art of storytelling. It's healthy for my soul. It's healthy for their developing minds. It's good for them to see we have troubles and then we have strategies, and we can do hard things, and we can overcome. We can build resiliency, even if we don't have those trials ourselves. I just think it's so important. So I love that. The second thing that is so crucial, 2 and 3 kind of go together. They're habits that we have. Number 2 is around the dinner table, and we've been doing this for years. We always, before we have supper, and I would say 4 out of 5 nights a week, we're all around the table, which is amazing due to sports, etc. We always go around, we say, what are you most grateful for today, and what was your biggest challenge today? So we, of course, have a strong gratitude practice, and we say that first. Then we go around and we all listen to what was each other's biggest struggle for the day. So my kids will share theirs. If they ask, we will offer our 2 cents, our advice. Sometimes they just need to know that we hear them. That's most important. We don't need to offer anything. But if they want to, of course, we will strategize with them. They can also hear our biggest trials and what we did or what we didn't do to overcome it, because sometimes doing nothing is the best answer. Just waiting until things cool down, waiting until you have perspective. That's important. So that's a great way that we help our kids build resiliency. The third way is in regular family meetings. Now, we go a little bit on and off depending on how busy the season is and what is going on, but when we are consistent with family meetings, life is better and more smooth all around. So some things that we do at our family meetings, we talk about what worked the last week and what didn't work. We set weekly goals, each member of the family, including the parents, and we set longer term goals. And then we hold each other accountable throughout the week. We give each other reminders. Sometimes, as you can expect, it sets another person off when they get called out. That's okay. It's totally okay. I heard Tony Robbins once say, the goal of a family is not peace. Really have to think about this because it hit me in the not good feels the first time. The goal of a family is not to achieve peace. It is to achieve love and respect. Okay, I can get behind that. I get it. So we have to keep that in mind sometimes. It's not always going to be peaceful, but the love is going to run deep. It's always there. And we always remind our kids in troubling times when, stuff gets out of hand, the love is there. You're always accepted. We forgive in our house. We love hard in our house. And if we have a disagreement, a dispute, if the wheels completely fall off, the love is still there. It's a common thread. It's never in question. So I think that's important. So having those family meetings and being consistent is my biggest tip. If you're not consistent, you can't hold each other accountable for those goals. You can't then go at the end of the week when you have your next family meeting on, say, Saturday or Sunday. What worked, what didn't, what do we need to adapt or adjust or toughen up to hit that goal? So they can see us sometimes not hit our goals and then hear us unpack why we don't think that we hit our goals. I think that is infinitely powerful. We're teaching them communication. Heck, we're teaching ourselves communication because we're not the best of communicators at times either. Like, it's a struggle for everybody. But I think just coming together as a family, that is going to pay off for future generations. Truly, I believe that it will. The fourth thing that we do to develop resiliency and to reinforce behavior in the right way, we think, for our family, is to really give praise for problem solving. We really praise hard for problem solving and also for pausing so that we can respond rather than react. We praise one another, my husband and I, in front of the children. We also praise the children. So our reasoning behind that is so that we're not constantly getting them addicted to hearing us say, well done, you got an A on that. And then they think, I need to do achievement-based things to get recognition, because that's not the message we want to get across. And accidentally, we sometimes do that, and parents do it all the time because we want to give our kids praise when they do good things. But we're trying to be really intentional about giving our kids praise when they make good choices, when they really think something through. Even if they make a mistake, We still praise them for thinking it through. They're kids. Their judgment's not always going to be there. It's not always going to be the right thing. Their prefrontal cortex hasn't even developed yet. They're under 12, right? So that's going to happen. But we really just try to give praise for the good choices, the well thought out plans, the pauses, and all those things reinforce our behavior too, as humans, as members of society, as parents, because nobody's perfect. We're always on this learning continuum. And hey, having someone to lovingly hold you accountable and call you out when the wheels do fall off, when you do make a bad choice, when you do react, is a blessing. We must not take it personal. We must take it from a place of love from which it's delivered. It always is, right? So that is my little kind of synopsis on how to build some resiliency in your kids when they are living through way less tough times than you did, and you obviously not wanting to put them through the experiences that you endured as a child, whether it be with difficult family members or financial hardship or abuse or anything that you were subjected to as a child that was not your fault, but because of it you built resiliency. Now, hopefully, you've done the work on yourself. You've come out on the other side, and we need to start thinking about how to build resiliency in our own children. So if this helped you today, if this served you in some way, would you share this video? Would you subscribe to our page and like this video? Because we are out to seriously empower the world, and especially at a time like this when everyone needs a little extra perspective. Big love from everyone at Shift Collective. Talk to you soon.